It's 7:03. I'm Brian Murphy, Chair of the Land Steward Woodward Subcommittee, and call this meeting the Land Steward of the Land Stewards Subcommittee to order. Members present are Chris, Shane, and myself, and remotely Alex. For this meeting, the Land Steward Woodward Subcommittee is convening in person or by telephone or Zoom web conference, as posted on the town's website identifying how the public may join. Please note this meeting is being recorded. Accordingly, please be aware that other participants may be able to hear you, and anything you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All participants should keep their phones and microphones muted unless recognized by me. Each vote in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. This is a public hearing. Public comment is permitted. I will call on each speaker to address the working group. If you wish to address the group, please click the raised hand icon or ask to speak by posting a request in the chat feature. Please identify yourself at the start of your remarks. Members of the community may speak if called upon, but they're limited to 3 minutes each. Is that my agenda? Is that yours?
Well, should be mine, I think, unless you want me to burn it.
I think that's mine because I showed you the heel thing.
Well, this is Barney's.
Oh, are you clicking? Oh, you can't click it then.
I can't click it. I'll be there, sure. Not joining.
Where's the mouse? Okay. So just a brief introduction. This meeting was to take input from any town board stakeholders. And we were also going to take CCF, but apparently they're meeting tonight, so they can't meet with us this time. We'll have to have a separate meeting. But the purpose of this meeting is to take the input, whatever input from any stakeholders from town boards who may want to participate and say anything. I don't know if there's any public comment.
Mm-hmm.
No, not your guys. That'll all come. But public. Is anybody here from the public that wants to make any statement up front? Sue, I think you're the only one who's publicly public. Okay. Hearing none. I assume in this meeting we can start things earlier. I don't think it's has the same obligation as a public hearing. So if we can start with input from the Ag Committee, that would be wonderful. Oh, and George said he can't see who's here. So Ag Committee members, could you please identify yourselves?
Margie Finley.
John Lee.
Can you hear them, George?
I heard that. Thank you.
Brian.
Yeah.
So I thought we were in the Parlin room, which is why I decided to be remote, but I'm glad you got more space. I see from my screen that there are 4 members of the Conservation Commission present, including yourself.
So that forms a quorum, huh?
Yes, I think George needs to open meeting.
Can
All
he,
right.
even though he didn't post it
It's posted, I believe.
for ConsCom? We have it posted.
Yeah, but I
Yes.
think it was.
We have a meeting
Hi,
on
I
the 12th.
posted it, yes.
Okay, great. All right. Cool.
So my turn, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm George Shepard, Chair of the Conservation Commission, and I call this meeting of the Conservation Commission and LSC to order. Members present remotely are Melissa Webster. Let's see who else we got here. I wrote down a separate page. Sorry. Sylvia Willard and I think that's it for and George
What about
Shepard.
me?
Only 3.
What about me?
What about who?
Me, Brian Murphy.
Are you still a member? Okay, yes. Brian Murphy,
If you took
sorry.
a payslip, I didn't get it.
No. So remotely connected are let's see the the conservation administrator from the town, Megan, and I think that's it for there. Sullivan. For this meeting, the Conservation Commission is convening by telephone or Zoom web conference as posted in the town's website, identifying how the public may join in. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. Accordingly, please be aware that other participants may be able to hear you, and anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All participants should keep their phones or microphones muted unless recognized by me or Brian. Each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. I will call on each speaker, or Brian will, to address the commission. If you wish to address the commission, please click on the raised hand icon or ask to speak by posting a request in the chat feature. Please identify yourself at the start of your remarks. The end. So, Brian, I'm going to turn it over to you as the lead for this particular meeting.
Okay. Alex, is it okay that even though we put something we start at 7:25, can we start early? Because these aren't like a public hearing. Do you have an opinion?
You posted the meeting for 7:30?
No, I posted the meeting at 7 o'clock, but I put, for example, AgCom at 7:25 to start speaking. Is it okay? Do you think it's okay if we take things in advance?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Okay. So we'd start with any comments on the Woodward license from AgCom?
Good evening. Excuse me. My name is John Lee. I live at 65 Wall Street and I'm currently a member of the Agricultural Commission. I would like to present a few brief bullet points for the discussion in no particular order. It's important to remember that agriculture is an historical part of the town of Carlisle. It's always been highly favored at town meeting and was one of the top 5 priorities of the master plan in its most recent edition. We think that licenses should be granted to our farmers by the Conservation Commission as they used to be. We think that AgCom should at least be listed as a liaison to the LSC, if not have a seat as a member of the LSC. We feel that it's important to maintain the status quo ante of the last several years as to the licensees on Woodward and Foss. And we need to recommend that LSC acknowledge the concerns as listed in the recent letter from CCF to Conscom and the LSC. They were very succinct, very well thought out, and as they are the license holder, we believe that they should get more than their due consideration. It might also be worth noticing that in Carlisle, as in Massachusetts, agricultural land for the production of food and fiber is extremely limited. And we think it's a shame to be limiting the Carlisle farmers in their pursuit of food and fiber real estate. Thank you.
Can you explain when you refer to food and fiber, what you mean?
Food for humans, animals. We're talking particularly in this case, not addressing, it seems like food and fiber are the key issues both on Foss and on Woodward. We have no problems with agriculture can be defined as, now you all know, by various types of production. But
So you mean, when you say fiber, you mean like
hay, wool,
Okay.
anything that's going that can be used,
I see. Yeah. Okay.
used
Thanks.
for and by humans for wear, and or nutrition.
I didn't get the fiber part.
So corn for cows to make milk to be sold.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Anybody else have any questions? Alex, do you have any questions?
No, I think I understand AgCom's view of the license.
George, do you want to ask any commissioners or?
No, I've had a good discussion. I've been, reading the CCF letter that hopefully everybody else has seen, and I agree with the premise that agriculture is one of the most important areas where we should devote conservation land to.
Brian, may I insert one
Sure.
more thought?
Please.
When the charter is rewritten as has been proposed, we are not in favor of the word sustainability. Sustainability is one of those words that can be anything.
I don't think we put that in there.
I know you didn't.
Okay.
I'm just saying we're not, if it becomes a matter of discussion, we feel that sustainability is one of those words that can be pledged to mean pretty much anything to anybody.
May I speak? It's Melissa.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would just go three things. John, I think you should make an effort to attend Thursday night's CONSCOM meeting about the charter.
Melissa, could you could you show your video, or is that not convenient for you?
No, sure I can. I hope it's going to be okay.
Thanks.
Okay, so John, I would counsel that any discussions of the charter, probably you might want to discuss that on Thursday night at the CONSCOM meeting. And then the other two comments I have are the CCF letter. CCF has been as we all know, such a critical partner for Carlisle, funding so much of our conservation land acquisitions. A terrific partner. The letter from CCF detailing issues with the Woodward license would seem to me to kind of moot the current license and make it kind of null and void. So we should maybe have a conversation about that. And then the other thing is any license we might issue for Woodward, I guess in my view, it's problematic to issue a license for 6+ acres where like less than 2% would be managed by the licensee. So I just want to kind of lay that on the table as discussion points. And I know I applaud LSC's efforts in the last several weeks to involve the public and bring in feedback from diverse stakeholders. Thank you for that. Those efforts should continue, and nothing I'm saying should interfere with the sincere desire to involve the public.
Could you explain about the 2% or whatever you just said about the Woodward property? Which is
yeah. So if you look at the plan under, for the current licensee, and again, I want to reiterate that the current license, from reading CCF's letter, appears to be illegal. The plan associated with that license talks about actively managing 5 1,000 square foot plots, and it's more than 6 acres. So if you just do the math, maybe it's 2% of the total land area.
That's not what they're limited to. That's just one activity they were going to do on the property. But anyway.
Well, there's no commitment actually from the licensee to do anything with more than the 5 1,000 square foot plots.
Okay, well, they're not here tonight, so I can't address that, but I will find out.
Well, you just read the plan, read the plan. So anyway, but that's sort of moot right now because it looks like from CCF's letter that that license is sort of invalid. So I think, it's a little bit back to the drawing board, and that doesn't necessarily need to be a bad thing. Many times, third time's the charm. So,
Yeah. Well, you're right, Melissa. The license is probably not valid because the licensee has put some certain conditions saying thou shalt correct some of the issues that you and I and the town are talking about. Let me just add that as part of the Thursday meeting, there is a draft letter. I think I'm pretty sure, and Megan can correct me, letter on corrections to how we're going to handle this type of application. So that Navneet Hundal has spent a lot of time with Alex putting together some letters, trying to put a new draft charter. So that's going to be part of the discussion on Thursday.
So
Alex, you want to
select
add
board-
anything to that?
Just a second, George. When we went to select board, we talked about getting LSC and Conscom together to talk about the charter. But it looks like now you've moved ahead and already have proposed changes to the charter.
Well, we're putting a draft set of 3 documents talking about the process that we are recommending.
Okay.
And I
I
don't know
can
if
jump
you
in to clarify as well, if needed.
I'm
Yes,
sorry,
go ahead, Megan.
Oh yeah, sorry. I was just gonna jump in and clarify. So yes, Navneet did take the initiative to make some proposed changes to the charter, and those will be discussed at Thursday's meeting, but it's not like everything's going to be voted on at Thursday's meeting. My understanding of the select board meeting, and from what the commissioners agreed to, was that they were going to still take input from different stakeholder groups before finalizing the revision. So I think at Thursday's meeting, we'll look at some proposed changes as well as set kind of like a timeline and plan for when those changes will be put into place, and we'll be contacting stakeholders and making sure that we can get some input. So it's not like it will all be decided on at Thursday, but it's just the start of the discussion will be this Thursday.
Thank you, Megan. You put it much better than I did. Okay.
could I just mention one other thing? I'm aware from looking at the video from the January 15th Land Stewards Committee meeting that the land stewards voted not to participate as a quorum, or couldn't muster a quorum, I'm not sure which, at the select board meeting on January 27th. I think it would be great to know whether land stewards would like to attend our meeting in quorum on Thursday, the 12th, this week, just to make sure we're all square with the open meeting law. So, if land stewards people do show up, we don't have an awkward situation where some have to drop off the call because it wasn't posted.
But Melissa, we're not going to take a vote on that. This is an information meeting where people can understand what's being proposed and take recommendations.
No, and I'm with you, George. But it's my understanding that if a quorum of land stewards committee members happens to show up on the meeting at the 12th, tuning in either by Zoom or in person, that suddenly it had to have been posted for a quorum to participate at all. Is that, or maybe not if they don't say anything?
Yeah, a quorum's able to attend as long as they don't discuss, the land stewardship business. So they wouldn't be able to openly discuss the charter, but I do think it is important to get LSC a seat at the table, but maybe that can be a separate meeting for their actual
I guess
input.
my question is if members of the LSC would like to attend on Thursday night, I just want to make sure that they can safely attend and offer up their comments or ask questions without any risk.
So
and
this is just a subcommittee. So tomorrow night, we're going to meet with all of LSC, but I think we would have to host it and perhaps withdraw if we can't get a quorum. But with the select board meeting, we couldn't get a quorum.
Right. I remember. Yep.
So can I interject here?
Please.
Um, as Brian just pointed out, we're just the tonight we're just the Woodward Subcommittee, and I think what we really need as a subcommittee tonight is input and direction on how to, proceed with the Woodward license. So, in that respect, I think I have two questions. One, and I know I passed on it earlier, but for AgCom, I think at some point, John, you had expressed an opinion that Woodward could not practically be divided, so to speak. So let me tell you where I'm going with this is CCF, as I read CCF's letter, their position, when you boil it down, is Woodward should be used for, I don't want to get into the debate about food production or anything else. So I just use the word traditional Carlisle agriculture. And that therefore this proposal for native meadow restoration without traditional agriculture is invalid under the conservation restriction. That's the way I read their letter. But to me, what was proposed, not in the license, but in the management plan, is, more akin to the Blazing Star plots and Foss Farm. And so my question, John, or for AgCom, is can we not do both? Or is your view that that's not feasible or practical?
Well, if we're talking about FOSS, that's the Blazing Star project presents very specific issues in terms of both access and the multiplicity of uses that are on site at FOSS. And as I believe, and I could stand to be corrected, that the plan as illustrated in the recent issues of Mosquito seem to limit access to the plots by heavy equipment, i.e. Mark Duffy coming in to plow. B, it seems foolish to me that we would take some of the best agricultural soils in the Commonwealth, as we've been informed, and remove them and add sand, which is not a good agricultural soil, just for some obscure benefit that could be as well, if not better, placed someplace else. I mean, to me, it doesn't make any sense environmentally, sustainability wise. There's just no good reason to dig out some of the best alluvial sandplain soils and get rid of them, basically, for a purpose that doesn't necessarily have to go there. There's no reason for it.
So Alex, can I clarify? This isn't about Fox at all. This is only about Woodward. I know he asked the question.
Yeah.
I just want to, So I use the Blazing Star plot as just kind of an example. Under the management plan for Woodward, we have 5 1,000 square foot plots which I would have, if you were going to also have traditional agriculture, would have to be excluded from the traditional agriculture. And I, you know, the management plan doesn't specify where these plots would be. And so my only question to you was really as AgCom and as a farmer, can you make that compatible with a traditional agricultural use of Woodward? Do you think that's feasible?
I don't know the answer to that specifically, but it would certainly reduce the possible uses of that by dividing it. It's very good grazing land right now. It's certainly a 3-acre hayfield is pretty small. Alex, I don't really know the answer to that without knowing more of the specifics. I guess in theory, you could have some combined use, but unless we can address the specificities of those uses, it's pretty hard to answer that question.
Thank you. And then my other question is for Conscom. Is it the view of Conscom that the license is invalid?
Before we get to that, George, I just want to mention at 7:25, Dan Wells joined.
Okay, welcome, Dan. That's not Alex, that is not our opinion. I will say that we have not formed the opinion yet. That is the opinion of CCF.
All right. So as we sit here tonight, again, just as the Woodward Subcommittee, Conscom is or is not prepared to direct that the license be revoked.
Well, Alex, before we even get that far, we're the subcommittee and we're supposed to make a proposal to them. It sounds like you're short circuiting all that.
No, I'm asking their opinion. The Conscom can make its opinion known to the committee. How else are we going to communicate to the whole LSC what Conscom's view is? So if Conscom's view is the license is invalid or should be revoked, I guess I want to know that. I don't know what's wrong.
But we haven't had that discussion as Conscom and
that's fine. If that's the answer, is Conscom hasn't made that decision yet.
That's true, Alex. We have not discussed it from that standpoint.
Okay.
And we haven't.
It's in our packet, George, right, for Thursday night's meeting.
That's right. In CCF letter, which actually states they think it's illegal, that may be a topic that we have to address on Thursday.
But we really can't fully address it until we get the opinion of town council, which I'm trying to get. I need the CCF letter reviewed by town council because it's hard to tell.
Brian, I agree with you. But according to some lawyers that CCF uses, their opinion is that it's illegal. Now, whether that's final or not, I don't know.
Right, we don't have the letter from the lawyer, so we don't know.
Right, exactly.
Well, I appreciate that you would want to consult with town council. I don't think it much matters because I certainly don't have the stomach for a fight with CCF over.
Oh, come on, Alex. Okay. Keep going. Sorry.
That's it. No, that's all. So no, I appreciate
actually, I agree with Alex on that. I don't know why we would ever want to pick a fight with CCF, but CCF also pointed out that the license included property that was privately owned, which kind of a big miss, no?
Not true.
So I asked for the floor
Yeah.
a minute ago.
So just one thing of a point of order. I know CCF isn't here tonight and they're not on the list. And I don't know if we're, Alex was speaking, if we're sliding right into the Concom's opinions about things, but I do want to take things in order. So Alex, are you done as subcommittee asking these questions right now?
For the moment, yes, thank you.
So Chris?
Yeah, so I just want to comment and update people who aren't familiar with sort of our charter as a subcommittee, that we're fully aware of problems with the license agreement, both in process and in form. And the whole purpose of this subcommittee is to lay out those problems, see if there's a resolution, and work our way through those issues. Now, short-circuiting that process and saying that, well, it's illegal and it's just void. It's just voided and we'll start over. Kind of, has wasted a lot of people's time, because we've been working at this, trying to identify all the issues with the license, and even asked CCF for their opinion on a few of the provisions in the license. And they haven't come back to us. And, again, I guess we haven't, to some degree, haven't really solved our process and trust issues, because, the letter sort of identifies things we've already identified as issues. I think we need to discuss some of the points, because there's some I don't necessarily agree with. And, if we take their letter carte blanche, I think it will short circuit any future work to be done on the property. And I think we just need to be careful. And, the other point I want to make is that, and that sort of bothers me a bit in sort of dismissing the license, is we made an agreement with an outfit to do restoration of habitat, which is expressly allowed in the conservation restriction that I can see, with approval from CCF, to do restoration projects. And so I think we really need to have a discussion with CCF about this, because we were told that they were in favor of the concepts, but the letter appears that they're not in favor of the concepts at all. So if that's a change, I want to understand why they've changed their mind on the concept. And again, I think the process, right or wrong, has identified some potentially valuable partners for this town in Grow Native Massachusetts. We might be able to find other solutions. The issue of a phos farm plot to grow all the natives they want, if we have extra space, I think was a good one. But they can also help us with some of the invasives over there. And I think sort of dismissing that license and dismissing them does a little, I think it's going to hurt the town's reputation, in my view, for anybody else who wants to work with us in the future. So I understand the complaints about the process, and I understand the objections to what's been done. But I also want to try to see what we can do to sort of satisfy both parties. I'd like to see goats there as well, right? And I also would like to see some of the trees before they died get unchoked with they getting choked out by some invasive vines that are, going to kill the trees. So if we don't find a path where we're acting on some of this stuff and waste another year, it's just a mess gets messier as we go. So I guess I'd ask for a little patience before we dismiss and let this committee do its work.
So in regard to this committee, the original schedule and plan was to have this series of meetings, which we've done. This was a stakeholder meeting with town boards. And because CCF can't make it, we need to schedule one more to talk to CCF before we have all the information to present to anybody. And we need some input from town council as to whether what they're saying is true or not true. We need to know that. We doesn't necessarily change the decision, but we need to know.
Well, Brian, CCF did put out a 5-page memo about their rationale and why they think it's good or bad or whatever. So we need to address that directly.
George, and some of those items in their letter are already on our list of things that we're addressing.
Okay, I appreciate that. I think it's important that we do that. But I had a half-hour discussion with Melinda from CCF this afternoon, trying to understand where they were coming from. So clearly there's some information transfer between us and them in order to come to a decision.
Yeah.
Sorry, Brian, that's all I had.
I would exercise. I mean, I guess I'm with Alex and others that, town council lawyer debate here is not necessary. It's not really in our best interest to start lawyering up between town committees and the CCF. So
I think it was just his impression of the validity, or, I think sometimes things get left in place, and we need to know, because this letter will be in the record.
I understand. Well,
for a long time. So, for example, the role in supporting the funding of the fields gives them makes their role go beyond as the holder of the conservation restriction. And I don't know if that's, if that's really true. So
Well, I don't think the letter says that at all. I mean,
because of our role in supporting and funding the purchase of the fields.
yes, that's an expression of their interest. It's not an expression of an opinion as to the validity of the restriction. And I feel very strongly that, as Chris said,
Good girl.
we do not want to be lawyering up and having a legal debate with CCF. Certainly not at this stage. Certainly not before we have a conversation with CCF. I just think that's a terrible idea.
Okay, so the next part of this was to take, which I guess we've already started to do, was to take input from Conscom. We lost George for a minute, but I don't know if there's anybody particular on Conscom who wants to make any comments or speak in any particular order.
I'll let George take the lead. I have a few comments I can make afterwards.
We just don't have George right now.
I see that. I bet he'll be back soon. Well, I have a couple of things about the management plan itself that, of course, you first of all, right at the top of Code 1, it's a little bit of a nit. The applicant has actually provided a name for the property, Woodward Meadow. That's the job of the Conservation Commission, to name a property. And the meadow, I had never heard of it called Meadow until I saw it on the plan.
I wonder what it's called in the CR.
What?
Whatever it's called in the CR should be what it's.
We've always referred to it as Woodward Fields. And at some point, once everything gets all combined with the extra 30 odd acres that's coming, the commission might like to make all of that property have one name or a specific name. But the commission actually does do a review in open session for naming conservation land. It's a little bit of a nit, but it startled me when I saw Woodward Meadow. Not that it isn't a pretty name, but.
Interesting enough, Sylvia, I went to the GIS map from the town GIS mapping. And what came out on the map was the Bedford Road Conservation Area.
Oh.
Believe it or not, so
That sounds pretty.
it sounds like lots of people have taken license with naming
Yes.
the area, the land. See what the conservation district is.
So at this point, we don't have any idea where those individual 1,000 acre, 1,000 square foot plots are, the 5 of them, where they are located. They could be anywhere on the fields at this point. And oh, by the way, the management plan only addresses the 2 purchased Woodward fields. It doesn't address work on any of the other property if you look at the actual document itself.
The one closest to Maple Street?
The 2 purchased
Right.
Woodward fields are what that management plan looks at, not any of the rest of the property.
I think they gave us a map and it does show,
That's what they're saying in, I think, the lead paragraph or something. It identifies the 2 lots that we purchased. I'm pretty sure. I don't have it with me, but
okay,
yeah.
I don't have any,
Which one are you looking for?
in their management plan. But they've given us a map too that showed the whole thing, and we need stamps, getting ready to finish that, so we have it for the CR.
Well, when I worked out the 1.9% of the land, I used the two lots because that's what they identified.
Okay.
So we don't know. One of the things they talk about that needs to be done after the areas are prepped, seeded, and planted is making sure it's watered. So right now we don't know where any of those plots are. We have no water down there. So how are they going to get watered, and how is the water going to get there to these different plots? I know it's a little thing, but it's important if you're trying to grow something that the seed be watered and plants be watered, especially during a drought, which is what we've been in for some time, and we are still in a drought. Another thing was plants that aren't protected in any way get browsed by wildlife, especially as many of us know down at Foss Farm Community Gardens, rabbits and deer. And those are in abundance out in that area. It's next to a wildlife refuge. And so is there any kind of protection that's going to be installed around those fields to make sure that what they have gone through all this work to establish is going to be protected from browsing, because they're not going to get seed from plants that are chewed. The other thing is there's something in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts called Executive Order 193. Executive Order 193 requires that when agricultural lands are purchased with money that comes from the state, that it has to stay agricultural, or if it's taken out of agriculture, it needs to be replaced. This land was bought with CPA money, and a portion of CPA money comes from the state. So it might be a good idea to double check and make sure. I believe that's state money, and that would apply with Executive Order 193. That's been in effect since 1981 and was Governor King established that in order to preserve agricultural land, because it was a declining resource in the state.
So
That's an interesting question, Sylvia. We didn't, I mean, I guess CPA funds ultimately gets matched by the state, doesn't it?
It is,
CPA
yeah, the
expense?
CPA, yeah, we are a CPA community. So, CPA funds of the tune of $500,000 was spent to purchase these lots.
Right. And the
Um,
state matched. So.
And a portion of it, I wouldn't call it a match, but a portion of it came from the state.
So that's something we can put on our list of. I think you raised a couple of points, technical issues that we had not identified. I want to make sure I capture them right. So just, if you weren't at the last meeting, we had a list of technical points with the license
Oh, okay.
that need to be looked at and resolved before we finish. And I think what you're raising is something that that I don't think has been previously identified. And I think there's actually 2 points in there. So, and the first being that agriculture and state money to do something in agriculture. But the second piece of that, and I know this was discussed at the LSC, was that, again, probably not documented very well, and all the other problems that we've had is that this could be considered an agricultural exercise, in the form of a nursery. But I think that's a separate discussion, right? But your discussion is, if it's not really what the state deems as agriculture and we use funds, I think that's good. Just, you feel like I captured your point correctly?
I mean, it's horticulture is what,
right?
What that is, and it is a form of agriculture,
right?
But is what is being proposed.
Yeah.
Pass the test if it's 1.9%.
Yep. You agree. So, okay, so I think I'll add that to our list. If the subcommittee folks agree, I'll add those 2 points.
Hey, I'm sorry, what was the second one? Yeah.
The first one is if state funds are used to purchase agriculture.
The 193, yeah, but
the second one is basically the general question of whether this is agriculture.
Okay.
But I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
You okay with that?
Vote?
I don't know if we need to vote, but if I get a nod from folks that those are 2 legitimate things. Thank you, Al.
I'm nodding. How about you?
Shane?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll add that to the list.
Great.
Thank you, Sylvia.
It would.
George is back.
It would be interesting to find out what would happen with the cranberry bog if the state money was used in this acquisition.
You brought your whole can of worms with you?
So while you were out, George, we just took out of order Sylvia because she was in the room, and she gave us some information that could be valuable.
I did not bring that up at the CONSCOM meeting because it hadn't really formed in my mind yet.
You're muted, George. George, you're muted.
I'm muted. The more information we have in front of us, the more we are. But I'm sorry I missed that discussion. I had something else to do. So,
not a problem, but maybe I don't know if Sue wants to, but there's an executive order 193 about using agricultural lands for non-agricultural purposes, and that they have to be replaced. And the question would then be, is horticulture, having grow seeds, is that considered agriculture? Was her question.
I understand. I don't have an answer.
Oh, yeah, George, we just agreed to include those in our list of issues. That's all. Not necessarily getting the resolutions at the moment, but we are trying to document all of the issues.
We're just trying to gather data.
All right. Well, I appreciate that. So continue on.
So I don't know if you want to call on any members Sylvia spoke. I don't know if you want me to do it or you do it. Melissa, I don't know if you have more to say, or Dan, or.
Well, we certainly can always ask them for their opinions. So, Melissa, what do you think?
I already spoke up about my concerns about the CCF letter, the legal concerns that the CCF letter raises. I don't know how long everybody's had a chance to review that letter, whether it was distributed before. I guess it arrived a couple of weeks ago, maybe before two LSC subcommittee meetings ago. I don't know. And I know it. What's that?
Yeah, you're right.
Melissa, I appreciate that. I don't think the commission has had a chance to digest what was actually in that letter. So I
Right.
don't think we need to take a position at this time.
Oh, no, I agree with you, George. I was really just asking whether the LSC Woodward Subcommittee had had a chance to review that letter
I hope
in the
so.
past. I would think so. I just don't know. And then my other concern was, of course, was just my square footage concern. So I don't have anything to add.
So, Brian, I can ask Dan if he has an opinion, but he's a latecomer, so I'll just put it to him if you have some opinions. But I don't think we as a conscom want to take a position at this time.
Thank you, George. Yeah, no opinions to share tonight.
Okay. So over to you, Brian.
I have to plead the fifth, I think, or whatever it would be.
Fourth. Plead the fourth.
Yeah, right. We have some new information like we got from CCF, and we have more digging and research to do. So I don't have a formed opinion.
Okay, thank you. And I had a good discussion with Melinda from CCF this afternoon. So there are still issues to be resolved.
Do you want to share any of that or no?
Well, it's all in the letter.
Okay. So are we done with input from Conscom?
As far as I'm concerned, yes.
All right. I don't think anybody's here from ESC. No. Okay. We have Barney from the Select Board.
Hi, all.
Hi.
And I'm really just here as the liaison from the select board to hear the discussion. And if you have any specific questions that you think someone from the select board can help with, feel free to ask them, but I don't have any particular input. This is really one that I think Conscom, is taking on. And I think that's a great idea that Conscom's going to be discussing this.
Okay.
Thank you.
And the other was Trails, and I think Steve is also on CCF, right? So he's probably in that meeting. So that's not going to give us any more input.
Hey, Barney, can I ask you a question? Okay.
Yes, of course.
So Sylvia brought up a point about Executive Order 193.
Mm-hmm.
When state funds are used to purchase farmlands. Do you happen to know, is CPA funds considered state funds, even though it's a portion contributed by?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because of the match that we get from them. And again, it's not a one-to-one match, but yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And it varies from year to year what they give us.
So that's just for agricultural land, is that right?
Well, no, the CPA allows for projects related to conservation.
Okay, all right, so it's not just agriculture, it's
No,
conservation related issues.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you.
But the order, executive order that Sylvia mentioned, I think it's about agricultural.
Yes, it's about agriculture.
right.
State money used to acquire agricultural land, the land needs to stay in agriculture. And if it isn't, it's going to be replaced.
The money, that's good.
No, the land.
Okay.
All right.
Sure, I got it
Thank you.
right.
Well, George, I guess if ConsCom is done, maybe you want to close your portion of the,
All right. I'll leave you to it and I can go put another log on the fire. Thank you.
sounds good. So, no, George, you have to close it.
He's gone.
I guess ConsCom will be in meeting continuously now until Thursday.
I think our vice chair can close it.
I was going to say Dan can do it.
Yeah.
I move that we close the public meeting for the Conservation Commission on February 9th. Do we need I guess I'll just close it.
Do a roll call vote, right? Or no?
We don't have a quorum anymore.
Yes, we do.
You do, yeah.
Melissa, you.
Aye. Second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Roll call vote. Melissa,
Aye.
Sylvia,
Aye.
and the chair votes aye.
Brian?
Brian, sorry. Brian,
Aye. Aye.
and the vice chair votes aye, and the motion passes.
Thank you, everybody. So I screwed up something in the beginning of the meeting. We had the other meeting minutes to approve and I blew right past that. I don't know if
We moved the meeting minutes until we have some. You put the 18th, I thought we approved the 18th last week.
Well, I'm stubborn. I think we did.
There were two that were moved, I thought, last meeting, and Shane had not had a chance to read one of them. Is that right? Something like that.
Okay, so we didn't vote on the 18th one?
I don't think we did.
Brian,
Yeah,
can I ask a question?
sure.
I haven't read the whole agreement with the proposed uses, but is there?
Sorry, you mean the agreement with the Woodward
Yeah,
Field or whatever?
Woodward Field, Woodward Meadow, Bedford.
Do you
Road
want a copy of it?
Conservation Parcel. Whatever it's called. Is there anything in the proposed use of that land that would allow the use of growing native sod?
I think the CR says you can't take sod.
The proposal, I don't think.
I think that I'm just asking. I don't think there is, but.
Oh, no, there's nothing in that proposal because the CR specifically forbids the removal of.
Well, that's some of the issues that, at one point, I think they said, in the discussion we had at LSC, pulling a plant up is a de minimis amount of soil removal. Since then, it seems like it's changed, like you can't touch the soil, but, soils get amended and,
But there is,
plowed and everything else.
in the horticultural field.
Yeah.
Which is the field we're dabbling in at the moment. There is quite, word to the wise, there is quite a bit of interest in the production of what's called native sod, which is basically grass sown with native plants that is then removed, sold to somebody else to, infiltrate, inculcate, inhabit lawns, fields to produce native plants someplace else.
So they plugs? It's not like the roll of sod?
Oh, it's like chunks of sod.
Oh, it is.
Could be rolls, could be squares.
The suburban yellow lawns.
I can say nothing in the plan that we've seen had anything like that.
I didn't see it, but I did not read it carefully enough, but in meetings that I've been in recently, there is a fair amount of expressed interest in the Hort community for what is referred to as native sod. And interesting, of course, maybe we should send that question to Rhode Island, which is the biggest sod producer in the Northeast. But just chasing the rat out of the hole.
I thought farmers were sod busters.
Yeah.
Only in Kansas. All right.
Anybody else have anything else?
Were we, so just so you folks know, I think we were, are we going to entertain parterre at some point? 'Cause I know the person who wrote the land use proposal wanted to talk to us.
This evening.
Not this
No.
evening, but at some point, I think, Heather requested that, he come talk to us.
Yep.
Which I think would be a great idea. And again, the ultimate answer here may be there is no license agreement, but I still think there's opportunities for partnering with some of these folks. Around the edges of the fields, along the trails. And I think that in looking at the land use, if you will, I think and you brought it up at one point, that the difficulty in sharing land use, right? When you have trails and you have dog walkers and horses, and cornfield.
And wildlife.
and wildlife and plants and, and the whole 9 yards. It's not a simple problem.
I've noticed up at the state park that they're installing little pollinated pockets around, a little pollen. I don't know if they're calling them pockets, but little pollinated areas. And some of them are just no bigger than, so this table you slice in half going along the stone wall. They got a sign up saying what it's for. And one of the spots that I've noticed most recently is along the trail that leads from the ski barn up to the main parking lot along that edge there. They put in some little stones and they're putting in plants. And there has always been a butterfly garden or a pollinator garden near the facilities building. And last summer I was there when they were looking at 3 monarchs. 3 chrysalises, and 2 monarchs that had.
What was that song in Oklahoma about him, the farmer and the rancher still be friends?
Yeah, that's the idea.
Just coming back to Chris's point about parterre, didn't we have some discussion with Heather last week about scheduling a meeting with CCF and that parterre might be able to attend at that meeting?
Yes, and I actually talked to her about their management plan, and those are some ideas he put out, like those 5 squares, but that's not all they were doing. They're trying to make use of the field. And in other places, if the milkweed regrew, if we get enough rain, I don't think they're limiting themselves to a little area, but obviously right now they're limiting themselves to nothing because it's not clear what the situation is going to be for them. So they're not putting anything into it. They're just waiting for their grant. The other thing I read, and I'm sure you read it.
It would be nice. It would be nice if, and I did ask her, what about the rest of it? And she said she would supplement the management plan. As of the moment, the management plan just deals with those 5 areas. So, but in any event, did we schedule or tentatively schedule a date for CCF? And
I thought she said they could do it couldn't be the 19th because that's a Thursday.
The 7th.
The 17th?
That's my recollection, but.
Okay, and you could do
Nick's-
that day?
Nick's in the waiting room.
Hey, Nick.
I don't think he was there long. Hope you weren't waiting long.
Yeah, the 17th. I can confirm that with him. And we have to see if CCF can, when they can meet with us. If they could do the same time, that'd be great.
And I do want to return to, if we're meeting with CCF, I would like a commitment that we're not going to seek a town council opinion on their letter until after we've met them.
I can't do that. I've already put that in process with Ryan. I just need some information. It may be very generic information, but there's stuff I just don't understand and I need to understand it. So,
Well, with all due respect, Brian, I think that's a matter for the committee to vote on, subcommittee to vote on, asking for town council opinion.
I didn't hear that from Ryan. Maybe we could put it in front of the whole board tomorrow night if you want, or you can make a motion and you can see what happens here. But there's things in this letter that I just don't understand. And it's not that I want to go have a legal battle with anybody. I need generically more information so that I'll be able to.
So why couldn't we ask those questions to CCF in a cordial meeting to try to get your understanding, my understanding? I have similar questions, but I was perfectly happy to ask CCF.
That's fine too.
I mean, I think that
But they have an opinion. They have like we might have a prejudice. They have a prejudice. And they might say it's invalid, but if they haven't explained why.
mean, look, I mean, there's questions I had in reviewing that. I'm happy to write them down and maybe we can go over those questions now and provide a list for CCF so that they don't feel blindsided or something. I don't know.
That's fine with me too.
But I don't think, picking apart their letter in a portion that doesn't really have a lot of bearing on what we're trying to do and asking legal advice about something that's, like you say, in the preamble or something like that. I don't think it's.
No, it was more
I don't think
generically how we do these things in the future and what our obligation is to CCF. Because when I look at the CR, there isn't a lot of feedback that we go back and ask the
Right.
owner of the CR of, and maybe there should be.
Well, there is certain. I was able to format it so you could search,
Oh, good
and
too.
there is that to issue a license, we needed CCF's approval. I didn't find that in the CR. So I wanted to try to get clarification on where that provision is in the CR. But I didn't want to ask a lawyer. I just wanted to ask CCF.
Okay.
And I think that's the way we should approach this is sit down with CCF and they still feel the need to write letters instead of sitting down and talk to us. So we're still not welcoming CCF into the conversation if they still feel the need to, to do it this way. So, I mean,
that sounds good to me.
I'm sorry, I was cut off there. I missed about half a minute of the conversation. What was the proposal?
I have similar questions as Brian, and my proposal is to either we could write down our questions now to give them a little bit of heads up of what we're looking for. I don't propose that we go go back and forth with documents. But if we have questions tonight, we don't have them here to ask the questions. But if we have those questions, we could provide them with a list, maybe help our meeting together go a little smoother. I know that was one proposal, is to write them down, or just gather them ourselves and outside the committee and bring them to the next meeting we have with CCF. But I don't want my questions running in front of a lawyer. You know, like I said, it's.
Well,
So my,
Sean, if you want to write down questions about CCF's view and letter, I don't have a problem with that, obviously, but I just think it's not a good idea to start by asking town council whether CCF is correct on anything or not. It just,
that isn't what I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask about the CR process, especially this CR, and what are our obligations, which will apply to other CRs as well, I'm sure. What are our obligations?
yeah, okay, well.
That's all. It was
But
nothing.
that's not the subject of the subcommittee. And again, I think it's extremely confrontational to start with, talking to town council about their letters. So I would again, and if I need to make a motion, I'll make a motion that any consultation with town council about CCF letters be delayed until at least after we've had a conversation with CCF.
I didn't want to talk about the CCF letter. I wanted to talk about the CR generically. But anyway, and what I understand, Alex, is that the chairs of any of these groups can go and consult on their own with town council. I can check that with Ryan.
Okay, if you're just going to proceed over the objections of members of your committee, I guess you can do that.
All right, why don't you take your vote then? Go ahead.
Well, I guess
Can you make a motion?
I'll make a motion that any consultation with town council concerning CCF's letter be delayed until after, at least after, we've had a meeting with CCF.
Second.
Okay, I'll take a roll call vote. Alex?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion passes. So there's no discussion of the CCF letter with town council. And then, Chris, I don't know if you need a motion for yours, but your idea is that we, develop some questions.
It's an alternative to going to town council. I don't know. I don't know if I can really come up with all the questions I was having when I was looking at it before the meeting. But the approval one was one of them. It doesn't appear, my only concern with their letter is that they're, at one point they were sort of in agreement with the concept, and now a lot of their objection is against the concept.
And they also said things like LSC voted for the license agreement without having read it. And I talked to Judy, like everybody, it was circulated. Maybe could you not find it online?
No, we never had it at a meeting. We never really had something to look at. I don't remember having it.
She said she circulated
Certain documents. I mean, one of the process issues was availability of documents. I would agree that it was hard to find documents, even for maybe. I think we even voted on an email once.
So I had to, I was able to get from Judy, and I don't have these all correlated, but for example, one of the things we heard from CCF is that they were never given a copy of the license agreement to view in advance. And they were on March 26th, 2025. She received the copy from town council and forwarded it to Steve Tobin and Melinda that day. So I don't know what happened with that, but I'm going to try to take these documents these emails I got from Judy, and get them in order. And if anybody wants to look at them, we'll make them available. But there are a bunch of emails. It's not like a regular document that we can just stick up on the town website very easily. We'll have to PDF them or something.
That's something, right? Just hit the print button.
You change it to a PDF.
You print it
Yeah,
to PDF.
But they're forwarded to me from Judy. I want we need this. We need to know that
With the attachment.
that the attachment was sent on this date at this time to these people, right? So I don't want to print
The
it.
attachment didn't come with it.
Yeah, it did.
So.
The attachment, right?
Yeah,
there?
right. Again, this sort of proves the point, is that there was a lot of stuff going around in emails and things that should have been out in public for people to review and see. So, I think our charter here is to try to not necessarily dwell on the process, right? Is that this subcommittee was to collect the comments on the physical document and see what, maybe there's resolutions, maybe there's not. Maybe the answer is, let's get rid of the document. But, I think we should, like I said, I would encourage us to see what other things, we issued an agreement to someone who was willing to help us with a piece of land and apply for grants and still might get the grant for all we know. In that whatever resolution we have has some consideration for a commitment that we made in whether that's some plots at Foss Farm or, whatever the answer is. Like, they can work the edges with us and, provide volunteers, something. I think, whether it has to be exclusively all farming or exclusively restoration, I don't think, if we can come up with a way that where, there's not, like a win-win situation. I hate to use cliches.
Yeah.
I do, like everybody else, but I think there's ways we can find some happy mediums here and some happy grounds. So,
But by the way, the other thing that people don't really realize is that although Clark Farm did not get the use of the Woodward field, we gave them Fox Hill, which is much more
they
acreage.
had a Fox Hill already.
No, Dick Showett had it, and he was just letting Andrew use it. But we licensed it to Andrew.
Yeah, I don't know that should have any bearing on what we're trying to do.
Well, people said it was a net loss of land for agriculture. So how do we get without having another meeting before we meet with CCF, how do we get all of our questions together? Because we can't deliberate outside of a meeting. Alex, is it legal for us to send all the questions to Chris and have him tabulate them, or is that considered? Yeah, Barney?
You could, if Megan's willing, you could ask the subcommittee to send their questions to Megan and she could put them together.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that.
Thank you. So then will she give it back to me so I can
She could
Can I-
transmit it to CCF.
But
Yeah.
how do we see the full list?
She just, put it in the packet for the next meeting so everybody has it, and as well as sending it on to CCF.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so Megan, we should do that fairly quickly because we haven't invited them to our next meeting. Or ask them when they're available. And it'd be good when we do that if we already have our set of questions.
Okay, yeah, just let me know the timeline. And I can compile everything, send it back around to them and put it in the meeting packet for you all.
Okay. So we made our next meeting on the 17th. And it might just be Grow Native if CCF can't make that date. And should we invite Trails back again because they were not present tonight? As a stakeholder? I mean, non-attendance doesn't mean no opinion.
Right. I think it's important. I'd say have feedback. I mean, their trail, takes up some valuable space in that field.
Yeah.
That, yeah, I think it's, the issue of balancing use is a tough one. Even if it goes back to all goats, I don't particularly want to walk through a goat field. I've seen the videos; they come up and headbutt you for crying out loud.
He had sheep.
Okay. No, I think he has. I think he has some goats too. But anyway, I just if we have a trail, I don't think we walk through livestock fields, right?
Yeah. All right. So I'll re-invite Trails for that meeting on the 17th as well.
It really,
Anybody?
it really strikes me as we're talking and kind of a reoccurring thought. Is I'm with Chris in the sense that I don't think the one is necessarily exclusive of the other, and I do think there's probably a happy medium, but it's a lot of moving parts, and I think ultimately to resolve those moving parts, you really need the people on the ground in the room. So by that I mean, hypothetically, you would say, well, Andrew and Parterre and Trails, and to the extent that we're dealing with 4OS, how much of that is going to be ultimately included and how it all fits together. I don't think the four of us sitting in a room can figure that out. I mean, we can take input from people but ultimately, I don't know, because, somebody may say, or Andrew, if it's Andrew, might say, well, if the 5,000 square foot area is dotted all over the place, it doesn't work for me, but it could work for me if it was all, at one end or the other. Obviously, I'm just making this up right now. And Trails could say, well, right now, the only place I can put it is down the edge of the field, but once we resolve the easement and put it on a plan, we might actually be able to clear out some of the edge and put the trail, over in the field edge, and then
Oh, Alex, your internet's frozen.
okay.
We lost a couple of words. You'd
All right. Well, so my only point is there are a lot of moving pieces, and I think you need to have all the players in a room to work it out.
So Nick, while you're here, it was actually a quorum of conscom people. There was no decisions made tonight, and things will get discussed. This was just input from conscom in regard to the Woodward license, not the charter and not all these other things. So I know you don't have the benefit of having seen the meeting, but is there anything you want to say?
No, I don't think so. I'll be eager to hear folks' input, which I guess we'll discuss perhaps on Thursday.
Well, not the input. I mean, we're not done with our findings to present to LSC and conscom for the Woodward, if that's what you're thinking about. Oh, did he freeze?
We will be discussing the CCF letter about Woodward at our meeting on Thursday, though. So that is some of
Okay.
the feedback you'll be hearing and discussing.
Okay. Okay, great.
Well, maybe, yeah. So there'll be separate discussions of the CCF letter. Maybe we should try to get to the conscom meeting. Just to get the letter issues out of the way.
So then I should post that meeting tomorrow, and if we can't have a quorum, we'll cancel as a quorum.
Yeah, do we want to have a subcommittee quorum at the LSC, or do we want to have?
I think we want though. No, because it's.
I think if we have the whole committee, there'll be a lot of confusion because they haven't been taking this ride journey with us, right? So maybe just as a minimum, the subcommittee. Is that a meeting you can make, Alex? Thursday call?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So Megan, I don't have the conscom agenda in front of me. Are we also discussing the LSC charter?
Yes.
So then we need the whole LSC.
Yeah.
Well, so as I mentioned earlier, Navneet took the initiative to make some proposed changes to the charter. So that has been distributed. It's on the meeting packet. It's on the town website. And so the commission can discuss that, but there won't be any definitive decisions on the charter at Thursday's meeting. I think it's more to open the discussion and get the conversation going, and also to start planning and coming up with the timeline of, the stakeholders that are going to be included, a timeline of when we're going to put legal advertisements in the mosquitoes for input, and when the actual revision is hopefully going to be voted on, things like that, just a timeline. So all that will be discussed on Thursday.
All right, so we really don't need a quorum of LSC.
I think it's up to you, but I will say from the way I've understood the direction that the commission was going to be going in after the joint meeting with the select board, it was that we would get input from all stakeholders, including LSC. And I'm sure that'll mean I would think holding separate meetings that are intended just to talk about the charter. And in those meetings, I would think LSC would want to have a quorum there.
Okay, that sounds good.
But maybe you could post the subcommittee for Thursday? So that if the three of us show up, we're not in violation.
3 or 4.
Well, you'll be there anyway.
Okay. All right. So I'll
I'm
post that.
assuming you're going Thursday.
Otherwise, I'd be skipping 2 meetings.
Yeah, that's right. You're only allowed to miss 2.
So do we need to vote?
So
Yeah, go
Brian,
ahead.
let me if you want, Noelle and I can also post the Woodward Subcommittee agenda for Thursday with the town clerk. If we get it to the town clerk tomorrow, then we will be in compliance with open meeting law.
Okay.
Would
And
you
the
like me to do that?
Yeah, that would be great. And the
Okay,
agenda item is only, oh, because you've got the whole Zoom link and everything from Conscom.
exactly. Yeah. So we'll just copy and paste it and change the heading to the Woodward Subcommittee meeting. And yeah.
And the topic is discussion of the CCF letter.
Okay.
Right?
And the charter as well.
No, because this is just a subcommittee.
Yeah.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
But if you want the charter, then we should try to get the whole LSC. I mean, do you think that?
No, I wasn't saying I wanted. I just wanted to clarify.
Okay.
And Megan, do you happen to know where on the Conscom agenda discussion of the CCF letter falls? I can look it up if you
Yes.
don't know off the top of your head.
No, it's I'm thinking sometime after 7:30. Actually, so the discussion of the Zoo New England proposals before that. So depending on how long that discussion goes for, which I think will be around, that one should start around 7:30. The CCF letter is after that, so maybe it'll be closer to 8. Depending on that discussion. What was that?
Do we have any hearings?
Yes, there's 3 wetland filings prior to the new and old business discussions, which will include the Zoo New England proposal and the CCF letter and LSC charter and all that. So 3 wetland filings before all those discussions. But like I said, I anticipate the wetland filings to take about a half hour and then we'll move into the discussion items. I don't know how long the Zoo New England item will take. There was quite a bit of feedback from stakeholders, so maybe the CCF letter would start around 8, sometime after 7:30 though.
Okay, and can you make Thursday night?
I can make
Yes.
those in it.
All right. And Chris can make it, so we're good. Good.
Megan, did they get their grant?
Not that I've heard of yet. The state extended the kind of, I guess, when they said they were announcing the grant, so I think now it's pushed to March, so we won't find out for another month.
Because Woodward has a dog in that fight too.
I see.
Okay, anything else, guys?
I just have one question about continuing the idea from last time.
Yeah.
I took a couple notes to add a couple items here. I'll make it revision 1 is the next committee meeting. Just, we don't necessarily have to get to it. If there's other conversations, can we make sure it's on the agenda?
Yeah, will you put a date on it?
Oh yeah, definitely. I saved the old one. That was the original issue. And I'll date the next, after I update it with my notes, I'll make sure there's revision bars
Okay.
and send it to you
And
before.
I'm sorry, what's the actual name of the document now?
Woodward Subcommittee, it's just us, the Woodward Subcommittee of the Carlisle Land Stewards Committee. It's a report out of identified issues with Woodward Ag License.
Okay. Because that's what should be in the agenda.
Yeah. And you can write, I mean, it's still, I consider it in draft form until we finally vote on it. It's just, we'll get revisions of each draft.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
All right. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Is there anything, nothing else, right?
Do we want to do those minutes? We didn't do them in the last meeting, the 18th?
Did you get a chance to look at them?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have any comments on the meeting minutes of December 18th?
Not I.
I move that we approve the minutes of December 18th.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Moved by Chris, seconded by Alex. I'll take a roll call vote. Alex?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Shane? Aye. And the chair votes aye. and they are approved.
I'll send you a PDF of the approved documents.
Thank you, because it's going to come up.
Okay, thanks.
And what about, so the 1.5 and 1.12?
What about
Okay. I withdraw the question.
I think Chris wasn't there.
Diligently working. What about tonight's meeting minutes? I'm still too behind. And I hate to commit.
Well,
to
Alex did the
another
last
set.
one.
Well,
I didn't hear any, I didn't see any drafts or anything.
And
no,
he's-
that's true. That's fair. You haven't seen the draft yet, but I'll take on both last and this one.
All right, so I'll send you a link to the Zoom and the,
Thank you.
okay.
Yeah, you sent me the last one, so I can deal with that.
Is there any regulation against the chair taking minutes?
I can't take minutes and do it. And you don't want my minutes. I mean,
I'll show you one.
I actually did take a few minutes. Okay, so we had a motion to adjourn, and we,
Are we clear on the next meeting? Is
the 27th?
17th. 17th?
Yeah,
17th.
yeah, February 17th.
And who's taking care of the invitations?
I will, or I'll get Megan to. I don't want to do the invitation until we get our.
Or see if they can, until we get our.
That's true. We were gonna get our list of questions for them.
Oh, you know, I think we're gonna have, if we're gonna talk about it on Thursday, maybe we don't have to.
Okay,
Maybe the list is not such a great idea. If Thursday's, they're gonna go through it on Thursday.
okay.
And we're allowed to ask questions, and I think maybe.
And also, if I were CCF or anybody, and you send me a bunch of questions, it doesn't make me excited to come join your meeting.
Right. Yeah, I'm just gonna focus on going forward. I know that there's still, again, there's a lot of feedback that we still need to bring back to the full LSC support.
Yep.
Just trying to go forward, Jim.
Okay. So we had a motion and a vote. Did we vote?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're adjourned.
We voted on minutes.
No, oh, I thought we voted on,
I don't think we had a motion to adjourn, did we?
okay.
Because I asked the question about next meeting.
I thought we had already actually made the motion and then you slipped that in.
No, I asked if we had made the next meeting.
Okay, well-
But I'll move to, we adjourn.
Second.
okay. Roll call vote. Alex?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Shane? Aye. And the chair votes aye, and the meeting is ended. Next meeting is February 17th at 7 o'clock. Actually, next meeting is Thursday at ConsCom.
That's ConsCom. It'll be posted tomorrow. Thank you, Megan.
No problem.
Okay. Thanks.
And it's 8:40.
Thanks. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night. Yeah, 8:41. I'm stopping the recording.
That's helpful because